Hi, I'm back. Day 16. So I was planning on doing a longer video for day 15, but Tracy's just currently doing some washing and just her face appeared at the window over there, which was very off-putting. So that's why I cut the video at day 15, and now we'll move on. Day 16, I'll tell you a bit more. As I said in the previous video, we've got quite a lot to catch up on. So yeah, when we left the German place, we'd actually noticed that our hookup cable, one of the ends, as a crack in it. So what we did, there was a campsite just down the road from there which had a shop which apparently sold caravan spare parts. We read that on a review on Park4Night, so we went in there and amazingly they had one, so I was able to swap out the end of the hookup cable and fix that, and it wasn't particularly expensive either, so that was actually really handy. And then so from there we just carried along, sort of mooching around some villages and beaches, just having a look, taking some photos, just having a bit of a chill time really. And we then ended up staying at a place called Quinta Do Rossi. Quite a nice site, to be fair. You know, they've kind of made it, I'll say, a bit of a hippie sort of vibe. Seating areas and stuff like that. And it was quite nice, as long as you didn't need electricity. Because we took electricity just to charge things up and just, you know, to use it. We don't always take electricity, we just did there. But what they didn't tell us when we paid the €4, which €4 for a hookup is quite a lot really around here at the moment. You know, we've been paying sort of €2 normally for a hookup, but what they didn't tell us was it was limited to 500 watts. So, and the owner said to me the reason he did that was to stop people in winter using their heaters. And that's the whole point. You know, quite often you get on electric hookup, and at €4 that was going to more than cover the cost of running a heater all night. So we couldn't even run our kettle. So the hookup was only really good for charging phones, charging laptops, things like that. So we just left the following morning there and carried on going, and we travelled to a place called Comporta, which has got gorgeous beaches, nice little village, and you just walk out of the village down towards the beach. On the left hand side you'll see some wooden steps, you just follow those through and they'll take you down to the beach. Absolutely gorgeous beach, a big long peninsula piece there, you know, beautiful sandy beach. So we had a walk along there, and we then went into a village. We'd had a coffee earlier in the day, actually, I should mention that. It's this little corner shop. They did like coffee, they had a little coffee machine there, but it was more like just a corner shop with some tables and chairs outside. And we got a couple of coffees, I think 2 coffees together were like €1.20 or something. Quite nice coffee. We sat there with the locals. We knew it was a place to go because all the locals were sat there. And then we then went for the walk on the beach, and then when we came back we stopped at I think it was Club Comporta or Comporta Club, name of a bar there. And again, yeah, I just sat there, had a couple of beers, and then we chilled out. Now at Comporta we stayed in the air. There's basically 2, I call them airs, but you know, motorhome parking, 3 motorhome parking there, and there's 2 around Comporta, one that's in the town, one isn't. And so we stayed at the one that was in the town, because obviously it's not a very busy time of year there. It's just a square surrounded by sort of houses and things. Apparently they have a market there, I think it's once or twice on a Friday and a month, and so you can't park there those nights, but apart from that it's free, and it's great little site. There's water there, disposal, and all the rest of it. So yeah, really good little place there. And then so now we move into day 18. Day 18 we was leaving Comporta, but we wanted to go and have a drive down to the end of the head there, and where they kind of got the resort bit, and you kind of go from these nice sandy beaches, nature reserve, no buildings, to suddenly these monstrosity of high-rise hotel and apartment blocks. And apparently it's the place to be in Portugal. Apparently, you know, lots of well-heeled people live around there, but for me, yeah, I don't know, it kind of had that sterile feeling of Singapore to me. Hope I haven't offended anybody in Singapore, but it wasn't really us. We had a nice view there across to Setable and across to that coast there, and bizarrely enough across to a motorhome park that we would then end up staying at later, but I'll tell you more about that at another point. But then after there we actually decided to head back to Albufeira. So we was heading up the coast, and then suddenly we were going to jam on the brakes and head back down and cut across and go to Albufeira. The reason we did that was the weather hadn't been brilliant. Not that it was going to be much better in Albufeira, but we were going to get to Porto a lot sooner than we needed to. And I think I've mentioned in other videos, we're due to be in Porto on, I believe it's the 2nd of April, to go back for a friend's wedding. So we didn't want to get there too early, and we obviously didn't want to go too far up the coast to come back down to it. And we really enjoyed where we stayed in Albufeira, so we thought, well, okay, we'll take a few nights there and just have a break. Just sort of, we hadn't really stayed anywhere for really long periods of time, so we thought we'd just go there and have a bit of a break, which is what we did. So we went back to the site. We were there, and unfortunately we couldn't get the same picture we had. The lovely French couple who were parked next to us were still there. They're there for months and months, and there's quite a few people on that site that are. I was chatting to one English guy who'd been there something like 18 months or something like that. So a lot of long-termers there, but there's also a lot of people going through. Really friendly site. I think I probably mentioned that on an early video. So we were going to stay there for 5 nights, but we actually ended up staying there for 6 nights because we were going to leave on the Sunday, and actually was chatting to one of the English guys that's been there a long time. So, oh, we're off tomorrow. And he just looked at me as if I was some kind of idiot and said, have you not looked at the weather forecast for tomorrow? And I said to him, yeah, it's raining. So I might as well drive in the rain rather than just sit here in the rain. He went, no, don't look at the rain. Look at the wind speeds. It's going to be 50-mile-an-hour winds tomorrow. So I was like, So I went and checked, and he was absolutely right. So we decided we stayed. So we didn't leave on the Sunday. We left on the Monday. So then sort of start heading back up the coast. But the 6 nights we were in Albufeira, we didn't do a huge amount really. We walked along the coast and just did some long walks along the coast, along the beaches, visited some other beaches, went to some restaurants and things like that. And one of the things that I thought has worked really well for us around Albufeira, and so a tip that I'll share, is in Google, if you go to Google Maps on your phone and just type in cheap eats, what it does, it kind of looks through the reviews of people saying, if it's good value and things like that. And on this trip, we found quite a few really nice places to eat that have been like really good money. So one of the places, and I'll try and dig the name out and pull it in the description below, but one of the places when we was walking along the coast, so we went from Albufeira, hit the coast, and basically turned left and kept the sea on our right and walking that way. And we came to this restaurants that I sort of checked out when we were looking to get something to eat. I said to Tracy, well, this is close, do you want to try this? And so we went to this restaurant, and for €9 each, you got whatever drink you wanted. So you could have like half a bottle of wine. We actually only had sparkling mineral waters each, and you got bread, olives, butter, all that sort of stuff. You got a main meal, and I had the liver, which was gorgeous, probably some of the best liver I've ever eaten. Tracy had a white fish and chips, I think it was, and it was really nice. And then you got pudding, you got coffee, all for €9 each, which we thought was fantastic value. And there's a few places like that. Now there was a couple of decent value places around the touristy areas of Albufeira, but they were okay. They weren't terrible, but they weren't amazing value and amazing food. But they were just okay. So it's well worth going outside the tourist areas, and not just there. That rule applies in most places, doesn't it? So anyway, so that was Albufeira, sort of day 18 through to 24 when we left. And so we needed to get back to where we'd left off. So because we left in Comporta, our next stop was going to be Setable, and that's what we did. So we drove to there, and we stayed at the Eco Parque in Setable, and they put us right by the water. And if you get there early, you can get one of the waterside pitches, which it was quite nice. But even if you're not, you're only kind of one row back, so it's not terrible. Nicely laid out site, but it was things that it was almost as it is designed by somebody who didn't use motorhomes or didn't go camping, because the shower blocks were absolutely lovely, but like in the showers, there was nowhere to put anything. They didn't have like a little bench, and they had loads of room in there, so they could have put them in these shower cubicles, and not enough hooks and things like that. And then in the washing up area, there was no hot water. They had these loads of washing up sinks in this beautiful area, beautifully done, but then there was no hot water. And it's just like, well, what for not a lot more effort, it could have been from a sort of okay to good site to a really great site. But I still would stay there again. It was one of the more expensive sites we stayed at, but you find that when you're close to towns. And when we got to Lisbon the next day, I'll tell you about that shortly. But so what we did when we got there in the afternoon, and we didn't particularly want to stay there a second night, just because we wanted to move on. It wasn't really our thing. So we walked down into Setable. The walk took us about an hour just to get in, and the first part of the walk is on this windy, busy road. There's no path, so to speak, for most of it, but there is quite a nice sized verge for most of that walk. So it was okay, and it wasn't particularly busy. So, but it wasn't the greatest of walking roads, to be honest. We walked down there, and then you kind of pick up a path in this seafront, and that was nice. We walked along the seafront there into the town, and what I did, I just googled. I do this for every town we go into. I just google for walking maps of that town, because quite often you find these free maps that just show you where all the things are to walk around, and so you can kind of quite quickly cover the main sites in any town. So that's what we did there. We did that, and it was quite a nice town centre. We're not really town people. We prefer to be like beaches and, frankly, out in the middle of nowhere. But it was quite nice. I know it's a lot of appeal to expats who go and live out there, and I can see the appeal. Cheap properties, quite a nice town, nice waterfront, easy access to Comporta. I can really understand why people do go and live there. Just not necessarily for us. One of the things that I did have there, which I thought was amazing, was free town Wi-Fi. So we just clicked onto the Wi-Fi there, free for the entire town, and we could just use it. And we got that now. And actually, I'm using it as I'm sat here. But obviously we're not in Setable now, but I can tell about that. But that's one of the things that we've noticed here is some of the places have free Wi-Fi across the town, which I think is absolutely amazing. So we left there the following day and we went to Lisbon. Now in Lisbon, you don't have a huge choice of camping areas. And so again, we used Park4Night, which we've done for most of the sites here. And we stayed at Lisboa camping. It's near the town. We had to get a bus in. I mean, you could have walked, I think it's about a 2-hour walk, but we got the bus in from the site. We, again, did this little walk into a Lisbon like I did in Setable. As always, just ignore my pronunciations. I will put in the description these places. But then in Lisbon, from that campsite, it's just a bus 714. And on the buses, they have Wi-Fi, so it was great. We could catch up on emails and surfing and checking out what we were going to do and things like that. And then it was raining, but it wasn't too bad. So we just had a wander around. We saw some of the main sites, but then we went to the Time Out food market, which it was great. But the problem is it was only about 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, and it was absolutely heaving. And we're in COVID times at the moment, and I personally, and so did Tracy, we didn't feel comfortable really taking our masks off, even if we could have got somewhere to sit and eat something in there, which frankly was a struggle. So we left there. It was great to have a walk around though and see it. Really good experience, and some of the food that was coming out in there looked amazing. So it's a shame we didn't get a chance to eat in there, but we moved on. And again, using that tip I shared with you previously about just going into Google and typing in cheap eats, we found a Mexican place called Guacamole just around the corner. Fantastic food, absolutely lovely. We had beers, coffee, food. Tracy have a dessert there? I can't remember. I think she might have done. And it was like €25 for the pair of us. So really good value, bearing in mind you're in the capital city. And then from there we just got the bus back. And then the following morning we left Lisbon. Now before we did leave, quite close to the site there's an Auchan. So we went there, did some shopping. I had to buy some clothes. So I actually managed to do that there as well, which was really handy. And we had lunch. So in that Auchan, actually before you pay at the tills, they've got like a cafe. They're having a few of the supermarkets in Portugal. And you just sit there, eat your food while you still got your shopping in your trolley. You pay for what you're eating, and then you go and finish your shopping off and go and pay. And that's what we did. I had a really nice toasted ham and cheese sandwich there. Tracy wasn't so pleased about her pizza. It was cold. And so I certainly chose well there and went for the ham and cheese sandwich. So from there, our plan was to go to Sintra. The architecture there is meant to be amazing, really nice place to walk around. And so what we thought we'd do is we'd go to an air near there and park up there. But it was basically a parking lot in an industrial unit, and the vans were as if they were parked. It wasn't as if they were being used, as if they were just parked up in a parking lot. It was very close together, wasn't a great area, so we decided to abandon that. And we then looked at maybe just parking the van like near the town or having a walk round. But parking in the centre of town, all of the reviews on Park4Night was just saying, they had stuff stolen, had stuff stolen, had stuff stolen. And so, we live in our van. Our van is our home. So last thing I want to do is put it at risk. So we didn't park there. We just aborted and didn't go to Sintra in the end, which is a shame because I'm sure it's very beautiful. But neither of us wanted to put the van at risk. And if we'd have parked, even if we were parked somewhere else, and something happened to the van, I would have been really annoyed with myself because I had the warning. So we just moved on from there. And from there, we then drove to São Pedro da Cadeira, which was this beautiful beachfront. It was a free parking, and it was a gorgeous beach, absolutely phenomenal beach. Walk along the beach a bit, and there's a walkway leading you up into one of the nearby towns as well. Really fantastic park up. In the summer, there's restaurants and bars nearby, but they were closed. In the summer, they're probably open, they're probably great, but then again, it's probably heaving there as well. But a really hypnotising beach. Absolutely loved that beach there. Would definitely go back to that park up. So from there, I'm actually going to just stop there. So we're now at the end of day 26. I'll stop there, and in the next video, I'll then cover the rest of the days up to dates of where I am. So I'll look very much the same, but I'm just going to cover it in a separate video because this one's getting quite long now, and I always said I wouldn't do long videos, but hopefully I've covered quite a lot and it's been of interest. Right, not something I normally mention because it's not my driving reason for doing these videos, but if you're enjoying the videos, well, maybe you might want to get your head checked out listening to me talk. But if you are enjoying the videos, then feel free to subscribe, leave a comment, do whatever works for you. Obviously it's always great to know people like it. If you don't like it, well, don't watch it. Anyway, that's it for now, and I will speak to you soon. Bye.